It's Christmas, my friends. Hope everyone's having a good Christmas if you celebrate, and hope you're doing well, even if you don't celebrate. This is Neil Adler with Syracuse Central on the Fan Arch Network. Happy Thursday of this holiday week. This is Syracuse Central. We focus on Syracuse basketball, Syracuse football, and recruiting in both sports. Plus, we'll talk about anything else in life that you want to talk about. I'm game for anything. Please hit that subscribe button if you feel so inclined. And always drop me comments and tell me what you like and especially what you don't like on this show. Okay, so I don't want to get away from Syracuse stuff, but I wanted to just, since today is Christmas, I wanted to wish everyone a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, but happy holiday season. For people who don't celebrate Christmas, I'm half Jewish, so I light the menorah, and I'm not like super religious, but I'm festive in both Hanukkah and Christmas, but I just want to say I'm thankful for all of you. We've been doing Syracuse Central now since sometime in August. I don't remember the exact date. I feel like it was sometime in August. It's just been really fun. I appreciate all the feedback. It's just a blessing to get to talk Syracuse sports. I love my alma mater, and people are tuning in, and we're having a little community here that's growing, and that's really all I want to do is pass along information and have us all engaged together. And yeah, so I'm really thankful for you all. So I wanted to talk about the holidays for like 2 seconds, and drop me comments and give me your takes. So like in terms of favorite holiday traditions, so obviously I love like lighting the menorah with my mom and my son when he's with me during Hanukkah. Sometimes he is, sometimes he isn't, depending on our parenting schedule. I love to watch the Christmas parade from Disney. Disney World in Florida, I believe. Is it in Disney World and Disneyland in California? No, I'm forgetting, but I love doing that. I love to go around the neighborhoods in the DMV, as well as I think a lot of you know I spend half my time or part of my time in Nashville. I love just going around and seeing all the highlights. Some of these houses, they must pay people to put up the lights because they're so intricate, and it would take forever, and it's just so awesome, and it's so cool, and I love all the colors, and obviously it makes me think of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And so to that end, what are your favorite holiday movies? And it can be Christmas related or just holiday related, whatever. And it can be Die Hard, or I love Christmas Vacation. I love Elf. I think Elf is like one of the sweetest, most endearing movies ever. Not just holiday movies, but just ever. I love it so much. I love this movie called Love Actually from, I feel like it was like the late 90s or early 2000s, because it's based in England, and I studied abroad in London for a semester at Syracuse, and I just think it's, I mean, it's not always a happy movie, but it's a sweet movie. And since we're talking about Syracuse basketball today on the show, what is your favorite basketball movie of all time? You know, and that can run the gamut. Mine is always going to be Hoosiers. I love Hoosiers. It's one of my probably five favorite movies overall, like not even sports related. I love Hoosiers. Gene Hackman, rest in peace. It's such a tremendous movie, and I love that movie so much. Oh my god. And then, what is your favorite Syracuse basketball team ever beyond the team that won the chip in '03? And it can be a team that was really good or just a team you just love to play. For me, it's that 2011-2012 team that went 30-1 in the regular season. Honestly, could have gone 31-0. I think they lost at Notre Dame when one of the games that Fab Melo, may he rest in peace as well, that he was not available. But that team was so stacked. Dion Waiters, a lottery pick coming off the bench. Chris Joseph from the DMV. Brandon Trish. I could go on and on and on. CJ Fair, just tons of guys. It was just an awesome team, and it was a bummer that they bowed out in the Elite Eight versus Jared Sullinger in Ohio State when there was like 8 million fouls called on Syracuse, but whatever. So anyway, drop me comments about all that stuff. Sorry I've taken 4 minutes to talk about holiday related stuff, but I just felt like it. All right, so in terms of Syracuse basketball, they finished up the non-conference 9-4. They are on their holiday break now. They don't play again until New Year's Eve against Clemson at home. And I just wanted to talk about some things that I liked and I didn't like in the non-conference. And there's plenty of season left. They've got 18 ACC games. Then they've got the ACC tournament. Assumably they make that, because not every team, I believe, makes it, qualifies. And then we'll see about the postseason beyond that. But in terms of like good things, I mean, for me, and I've talked about this on Syracuse Central a bunch, it all starts with William Cobb III, the senior center, the transfer from UCLA, some fans when he transferred, people were like, "Oh gosh, we're gonna have a 6'9" center, and we're gonna get, it's gonna be a disaster because he's not 7'1." And to be fair, we'll see how William does against Cameron Boozer, and again, I've mentioned centers in the ACC, but I think he's held his own pretty well so far. He's averaging like almost 11 points, 8 boards, 3.3 blocks per game, which is number one in the ACC, number one in the ACC, number two nationally. I just think he's for me, it's not just that. Like, and I think Peace Love and some other people have mentioned that in the comments. He's just always like giving it his all, and like it's kind of sad for me to say because everyone should always be giving their all the time. But that is life, that is sports. But he's just always getting after it. He's just been really fun to watch. So as I mentioned, I think after the Stonehill win, and I talked about on Inside the Loud House as well, I've been encouraged, by the recent play of the starting backcourt, Nathan George and JJ Starling. George is, he's chipped in 22 points each of the last two games, and he's cut his turnovers down. JJ had 20 points in the win over Stonehill, and he's hitting 35% from three, which is tops on the team among the main rotational players, which is surprising to me, but... And it also, I think, shows that Syracuse isn't a good three-point shooting team. But other things, positives, obviously the defense. The defense was awful last year. In this year, it's just outside the top 25 in scoring, averaging about, giving up about 65 points per game. Gave up almost 78 points a game. That's 13, 13 points. Improvement. And I knew they'd be better because last year they were so bad. I just felt like there's nowhere to go but better or up or down or wherever. But they just have more athletes. It's just a more athletic team. I think the bench by and large, to me it's like three. Well, if you factor in Donnie Freeman as being a starter and playing, and he's supposed to play against Clemson on New Year's Eve. The three main reserves are Kyan Anthony, Sadiq White, the two freshmen, and then Tyler Betsy, the sophomore. So, I think those three, and again, I know Sadiq White's been starting a lot lately because Freeman's been out, but I think they've all produced. I'm not saying they're perfect, and obviously they're all underclassmen, but, between the three of them, they're 10-9, 18, 19. They're averaging about 27 points collectively between the three of them. I'll take that. In terms of the schedule, what can I say? They beat Tennessee, which is a quad-1 win, and they nearly beat Houston. I'm going to leave it at that. They're doing I think they're doing pretty well in taking care of the ball. That was a real issue last year. I don't recall off the top of my head how many turnovers they committed per game, but this season they're averaging 10.7 turnovers per game, and they've had a few games where they just were awful, but kind of skews the numbers, but they're turning it over roughly four times less per game than their opponents, and they're scoring about 5 more points per game off turnovers than their opponents. So that's encouraging stuff. So I don't want to get so negative, but things that, unfortunate. The Hofstra loss, obviously, the second half against Iowa State, not blowing out a couple of the inferior mid-majors or whatever, where for their metrics it'd be good. And I'm not saying that I want Syracuse to beat up on mid-majors or teams that aren't as talented just for resume stuff. It's more about up here and, just playing to your potential and just getting after it. But yeah, they had a couple games where it was the Monmouth game, Northeastern, St. Joe's. They were all under 10 points, and that just can't happen. The free throws. I'm just going to say they stink at free throws. They're last in the country, 59%. They made their free throws. They would have beaten Hofstra and Houston probably. Not definitely. And they'd be 11-2. So, and we'll see how that factors in ACC play. And, as I've talked about on Syracuse Central, on Jackson Holzer's pod and other places, it's not just William Kyle III and traditionally you think of big men having more issues at the free throw line. No, it's guards. JJ Starling's not good from the free throw line. Kyan Anthony's not good. Nate Kings is not good. Nathan George is good. And Freeman was good in those first four games. But this is going to cost some games when they play other teams and it's close, because other teams, if they're better from the free throw line, it's going to be a problem. To that end, another thing that's I think is an issue for Sarah, a big issue besides the free throw line, is the rebounding. Their rebounding margin is negative right now, negative just under 1 rebound a game. They're averaging 36 and a half. The other teams are giving up getting 37.3. And I know Syracuse historically, some years, especially when they play the zone, have had issues rebounding, but there's just no excuse for that. And more concerning is that they're giving up a lot of offensive rebounds to their opponents, and that can translate to easy second chance points, and Syracuse just can ill afford that. So, look, Donnie Freeman obviously only played 4 games. Let's see how he fares when he comes back, how many minutes he gets, how impactful he is, how it changes the complexion of the team. And then I'll just kind of wrap up by saying they've got plenty of opportunities to get good, quad 1, quad 2 wins during ACC play. Their net ranking right now is, or at least when I taped this, was 88, which is obviously not good. And their Ken Palm's nothing special either. But look, if they want to get in the NCAA tournament, they can't lose to the lesser teams, and they have to beat some good teams. It's not just about, we'll play Duke close on the road. I'm not saying they're going to win at Duke or win at Louisville, but it's not about just playing North Carolina close at home or Virginia close or Clemson close. No, they have to win some of these games. They have to win a bunch of these games. I'll get in this on another episode, but drop me comments. What do you think Syracuse needs to do in the ACC, in the 18-game ACC, to realistically have a shot at the NCAA tournament, save, from winning the ACC tournament? I'll get into this more. I feel like 11-7, 12-6 is kind of the middle there. All right. A little bit of recruiting nuggets here. Oops. What did I just do? Okay. Am I still here? Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I'm like so not tech savvy. I'm like the worst at this. I feel so bad, not to go off on a tangent, but one of my bosses at FanArch, when they first brought me on board and they were like teaching me how to like do all the graph. Like I am the most moronic person when it comes to graphics and technology and web related things. Like I have an iPhone from like 2018 that I still have. My son makes fun of me because I need to get a new one, but like my twin brother had to like set it up. Like I don't know any. I'm so bad. Anyway, I don't know. I just brought that up, but hold on. I just goofed here. So we're gonna do Here we go. Sorry, Jordan Smith. I'm sorry. I messed that up. All right, so Jordan Smith. We've talked about him on Syracuse Central a bunch. He's a 2026 5-star shooting guard from the DMV. Syracuse is in his top 6. A lot of Syracuse fans on social media and chat rooms think Syracuse has no shot. I don't think they have a great shot, but I wouldn't say they have no shot. I wrote this on Inside Lot. He is making a strong case, to be the number 1 player in the country in the 2026 class, the high school senior class. He's number 2 according to 24/7 Sports Composite, but he's like further down in a couple other places. But he just went off at a showcase called the City of Palms Classic in Fort Myers, Florida. His team, St. Paul VI Catholic High School from Chantilly, Virginia, which is in the DMV near me. They went 4-0. They won the whole thing. They beat Archbishop Stepanek, which is a really good program from White Plains, New York, in the final game. And in the final game, it was on ESPN2. I didn't get to watch it. But Smith, he averaged over 31 points per game in the tournament. He had 40 in one game. I think it was the first game. He was named MVP of the tournament, obviously. And in the championship game over Stepanek, he had 31 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 4 steals. He did have 5 turnovers, but this dude is just so freaking good. And Syracuse first offered him in May of 23. So I've been, covering him since then. And Syracuse has recruited him hard since then. I mean, he was always, like, his moniker was he just getting after it defensively. A lot of Anderson scouts for a long time have said he's the best defender in the class. I agree with that. But why I think he should be the number 1 player in the class is he's offensively. I mean, if he's doing this on defense and he's just averaged 31 points playing really good teams and won a chip at this showcase, and he played on national TV, how can you not have him first at some point? Anyway, so Smith has unofficially visited Syracuse twice. One was early November of this year. I had that first, for Inside the Loud House. Um, and his top six is Syracuse, Arkansas, Georgetown, Kentucky, Indiana, and Duke. So what am I hearing? I heard that from some people I talked to that his unofficial last month went well. Okay. He's really close with Brendan Strawn, who is from has strong DMV recruiting ties as well. Duke has been kind of the thought to be the presumed leader for a while, but what I have been hearing is that Arkansas has some momentum. John Calipari, obviously a great recruiter, gets a lot of guys to the pros. I don't think Syracuse is like out in front for Smith, but Smith has told multiple analysts of late, and this is obviously what he's telling them. I don't know what his inner circle, whatever, that he's still considering all six schools. And he's focused on his high school senior season right now. He's going to be a National Player of the Year candidate. And he might take more visits, later on, because he's obviously not going to sign he can't sign to the traditional period, which is in the spring. But he's told analysts he might not even make an announcement about his decision until February, sometime between February and April. And he's also said that he's made it clear he wants to see how the teams that he has in his top six, like how they're doing. And so one of my sources said to me the other day, look, Syracuse feels like it has a shot, maybe not a great shot, but they're in the mix. They're going to try and get him on campus for an official visit. And Syracuse needs to do well. They need to look like an NCAA tournament team to show that they're a winning program after some down years, and they need to show that there's stability with the staff, because if they stink and then there's a coaching staff change, the staff changes, including that. Jordan Smith ain't considering Syracuse unless the new head coach is, someone because he's considering Syracuse not because it's Syracuse per se. It's because of Brendan Strawn and even Adrian Autry. Both those guys used to coach Team Takeover, which is an EYBL program in DC. That's where Jordan Smith played. And Autry used to be an assistant way back in the day at St. Paul VI. So there's a lot of long-time relationships with not just Smith, but, coaches, in the DMV, etc. So, look, again, I'm not in any way insinuating here that Syracuse is out in front or one of the leaders. I think you still might think it's Arkansas and or Duke. You never want to count out Georgetown. They're a local team, been recruiting him hard for a while. One of Smith's team takeover teammates is headed to Indiana. Kentucky's a blue blood. So, again, we'll see. But I do find it interesting that a lot of people on social media and in chat rooms say, he's not coming to Syracuse. Syracuse has no shot. How do you know that? And I'm not saying I'm like the most plugged in person in the world, but I do have some people I talk to. And I'm not saying Syracuse has a great shot, but to sit here and say they have no shot, Syracuse is in his top six. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. Does he take an official to Syracuse? Does he cut his list further and eliminate Syracuse? Okay, fine, then they're out of it. But I don't know. People make these blanket statements online, and it's just really annoying. But I'll get over that, and I'll move on. All right, so more recruiting stuff. So over the years, there have been a handful of guys that went to the Brewster Academy in New Hampshire and then ultimately played at Syracuse. Buddy Boeheim had an extra year, post grad or whatever you call it. CJ Fair went there, Chris McCullough went there, a couple other guys. And so there's two guys in the 2028 class that I want to talk about that go to Brewster. One is Kevin Wheatley Jr., who's a 5-star shooting guard, and the other is, and he's from, I've never heard of this place, Rahway, New Jersey. It's near New York City. And the other is 2028 5-star, 2028 5-star point guard Mekhi White. And so, and he transferred in there from a school in, I'm totally not seeing it here. It was a school in New Jersey. He's from New Jersey as well. Let's see this. Sorry, I thought I had it here. Mekhi, where are you? St. Benedict's Prep in Newark, and so he transferred into to Brewster, and then Kevin was playing with Our Savior Lutheran, which is part of the Overtime Elite League. That's where Elijah Moore, the former Syracuse player, he played. Anyway, so they're both 2028s, 5 stars. Kevin got a formal offer from Syracuse over the weekend, and that was first reported by Deshaun London, a really good national analyst with 24/7 Sports. White played at Syracuse's elite camp this past August. They have it every August. I actually traded some messages with him online. He said, well, let me put it this way. I anticipate he'll get an offer from Syracuse, and he told me just briefly that if and when he did get offered by Syracuse, that he would look to take another visit, whether official or, well, he can't take it. I don't think he can take an official one right now because he's only a sophomore. But anyway, he seems to have interest and vice versa. And Brewster again, I feel like has been a solid pipeline for Syracuse. And another guy that they're on in 2027 is Clyde Walters. He was at Brewster. He transferred to Overtime Elite, and he officially visited Syracuse not too long ago. I'll have more intel on him soon on Syracuse Central. But, it's something that, 2028 guys, that's far out, and we got to see how the season goes and how the staff does the rest of this year. But Syracuse, after offering Wheatley, they've offered, I believe, 12 guys in 2028, and I wouldn't be surprised if they offer Mekhi White. And again, they're both 5 stars. Brewster plays in the EYBL Scholastic, which is a 20-team super league, so to speak, of a lot of independent basketball academies and prep schools. So it's just, I wanted to update you on that. A little recruiting nuggets there. And we're going to wrap up here with some viewer comments. So, and I want to say happy holidays. But let me look at my viewer comments from the last basketball one. So this was what I think was 2 days ago. Well, I love this one. Tavares T. White 7866 9-4. Autry, I love you. Let's go. I love Autry too. I'm rooting for him. Sure. Joe McBride 5260 says if Donnie plays in the Clemson game, I think he should have played at least one game before, unless they're going to play a certain amount of minutes. Yeah, I've talked about this on Syracuse Central and other places as well. Yeah, I feel like if he could go, like, it would have been nice to see him get a little bit of run in one of the last 2 games. So it was Stonehill on Monday and Northeastern over the weekend on Saturday. It is what it is. I mean, maybe they just didn't feel like he was ready, or they just didn't. But yeah, him having played 4 games and not having played in a long time, and going kind of cold turkey, so to speak, in terms of being in games and going in and playing Clemson first is a lot different than playing, no disrespect, than playing a Northeastern or a Stonehill. It is what it is. I'm not a doctor. That's their decision. Clip CHF hands 1. This was funny. I'm going to change it up a bit. Throw some positivity at this, even though I still believe Donnie Freeman is no-show Donnie, and I don't trust the kid to show up at all. Okay, fine. I get it. He's been injured a lot. But a scenario I see is that this team showed after the Vegas trip that they did not have the conditioning needed for ACC play. Could we possibly, for 1 second, give Autry the benefit of the doubt? Is he doing heavy conditioning training that is taking away their game time energy in order to prepare for ACC play? I don't think this team is much different with or without no-show Donnie, but he gives an extra body in the rotation for West while performing defense at a level 5. I didn't understand that last part, but that's okay. I mean, I get it. I get the frustration with Donnie. He only played in 14 games last year. He's played in 4 of 13 games this year. So let's see how it goes. In terms of the whole conditioning thing, I don't know. These guys are young men they're in good shape. I definitely feel like they ran out of gas in the second half against Iowa State when they got blown out. But otherwise, they hung for the first half with Iowa State, which is a top 5 team. They hung with Kansas, which is a top 20 team. And they should have beaten Houston, which is a top 10 team, and at the time was a top 5 team if they had made their free throws. So 3 games in 3 days is tough. I personally, now I haven't studied every single team that was in the Players Era Festival and who they played, but I personally, just anecdotally, and maybe I'm biased, feel like Syracuse had the toughest draw of anyone to play Houston, Iowa State, and Kansas, all Big 12 teams, ironically. So I don't know. I feel like these guys, the conditioning shouldn't be an issue. And I still, at least for right now, we'll see how it plays out once he starts playing again. But I am of the mindset that this team is better off with Donnie in the lineup than not. And not just because he's an extra body. He was leading the team in scoring. Now, if you think he's injury prone or soft or whatever you want to call it, like, fine, okay, like that's your prerogative. But this team is better off with him. You've got an extra big man, Sadiq White, I assume would go back to the bench as a key reserve. You've got, they're just better with him. I'll just leave it at that. So someone talked about Yassine Willis declaring he's leaving, so we'll leave that alone. JR Colin 7-6. This team is giving me a bad case of the Mondays. I mean, I hear you, although they did blow out Stonehill. It's Stonehill, but at least they blew that team out versus, Northeastern. It was an 8-point win. Mercyhurst, it was a 14-point win. They lost to Hofstra. St. Joe's was an 8-point win. So at least they ended the non-conference on a positive note against a bad team, but they won by almost 30 points. And they also missed half their free throws. So imagine that. But Nate George looked good. Starling looked good. I'll take it. They were efficient from 3. It was a solid win. I'll take it. Oh, my man, Peace Love 5873. I totally missed you. It was a good-looking performance. This is the Stonehill game. It was a good-looking performance. The energy was better than other recent games. Kyan still trying to do too much. His turnovers are just sloppy ball. Autry was right to limit his minutes. The free throws are just a precursor to dusting off the cardiac Cuse moniker. It's coming. I hope your heart is strong going into conference play, my man. Well, I love you. Peace, love. And you got a birthday coming up in, I believe, right? Don't you have a birthday coming up? Weren't we talking about that? Yeah. It wasn't on this one. Maybe it was it on the other one?
Get to go back to Texas A&M.
Hold on. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, we were talking about
what's going on, friend?
I'm pulling up my old stuff here. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's New Year's Eve. I'm New Year's Day. Yeah. So everyone wish me happy birthday on New Year's Day and peace, love, 5873 New Year's Eve. Okay. So the free throw stuff. Yeah. I don't know what to say. And Eric Devendorf on the call, and I think I talked about this on, the other day. The free throws aren't on Adrian Autry and the staff. I guarantee you they're having them practice a ton of them, and they need to keep practicing. But he can't go out there and shoot the free throws for them. If they're not practicing, then that's on the staff. But so I am nervous that they're going to have some close games against teams that are around them in the ACC, or maybe even a possibility to upset someone on the road, whatever, Duke, Louisville, whatever, and they're going to lose because of free throws. And that stinks. It's so freaking annoying. So cardiac Cuse, peace, love. That's what I'm talking about. All right. And then finally, Kenny D603, the free throw mess will resolve itself. Donnie, Nate, and Nate were all hitting at or about 80% last year. Starling has been a 70% free throw shooter. Even Kyle averaged 60% at South Dakota State. That was before UCLA. With Donnie back, Sadiq will be less of a problem. Kyan, Sadiq, and Betsy need 200 or more reps per day until they can hit 2 consecutive free throws. Kyle has vastly exceeded expectations. George has started to show what he can do. Looks like Kings is getting back to his shooting. If Donnie and JJ can both stay healthy, the tournament is well within reach. Clemson has had struggles of its own. Nearly gave up a win to Cincy after leading by 20. The lessons learned in the non-conference may pay off with a few wins on the road against Wake, NC State, UNC, or Virginia. If they need to win at Duke and at Louisville, then they're in trouble. Man, those are some great points. And yeah, I'm hoping that the free throw shooting does kind of even out a little bit. I hope. But yeah, if they need to beat Duke and Louisville on the road to have any shot, then that's a problem. So we'll see. Great comments. Everyone's so insightful. I really appreciate you all. Much love. Happy holidays. This is Neil Adler with Syracuse Central on the Fan Arch Network. Enjoy Christmas. Enjoy the day, even if you don't celebrate Christmas. I am going out to Hibachi with my twin brother, my parents, my niece, my older brother, his partner. My son's with his mom for Christmas, and he's, I'm sure, having a great time. But I love when they cook the food in front of you and throw the shrimp in your mouth and light stuff on fire. And hopefully they don't light my eyebrows on fire or my hair because I have very little hair. And so I'm just really appreciative of all of you. Much love. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and drop me comments about what you want to hear about on the show. I will talk to you again on Friday. Take care, friends.